Let's bring in ABC News legal contributor and Hofstra law professor James Sample. So, James, talk to us about what charges Maduro is facing. Why is he facing them in New York? What did you think of this arraignment today?
Well, Elizabeth, it gives new meaning to beware the Ides of March when you think about March 17th being the next time he'll be in court. He is facing a combination of drug trafficking charges and charges of conspiring with drug cartels and using military-grade weaponry to further those conspiracies. This is really a remarkable day in the sense that Nicolas Maduro entered court today as just another criminal defendant, even though he is, by his terms, the president of Venezuela, and as of a few days ago, internationally recognized as such. And now he is just another criminal defendant in New York court. Why New York? Because the Southern District of New York has specific expertise, tons of experience prosecuting high-profile international cases, high-profile terrorism cases, and certainly the case here is not one that will be unprecedented in terms of the logistics, even though it is unprecedented in terms of how he was captured.
Another high-profile case, Juan Hernandez, who's the former president of Honduras, he also faced drug trafficking charges, James, but he was actually pardoned by President Trump last month. So explain to us kind of the difference in what he faced versus what Maduro is facing here.
Well, just a second ago, we referenced the idea of everyone being equal under law. But as you know very well, Elizabeth, in the current administration, a lot of the sort of scope of authority goes to a transactional presidency, the idea of what can you do for me? And Hernandez had the president's favor. And so even though facing very similar charges, and even though it does open up the president and the administration to charges of a double standard, Hernandez got a pardon after the federal prosecutors from the United States spent months and even years prosecuting him and putting together the case against him that would have kept him in prison for decades. Now, this particular individual, Nicolas Maduro, does not have the president's favor, doesn't have anything transactionally to offer, and seems to be likely to be facing potentially even the rest of his life in prison.
Yeah, and big picture here, James, we know that top administration officials are briefing some members of Congress at this hour. A big question is, did President Trump have the legal authority to carry out this operation without getting the approval of Congress first? What does the law say there, James?
The law is in two categories. International law would say that this was a violation of the UN Charter to which the United States is a party. And as to your specific question about domestic law and whether Congress needed to approve of this action in advance, there is a difference of opinion. Reasonable people in Congress disagree. Democrats are certainly outraged that the president undertook an action just weeks after Secretary Hegseth and Secretary Rubio testified in private to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle that there was not a regime change component to what was transpiring in Venezuela. Certainly, what we know is that Congress will play a role in appropriations if there are to be any further actions in Venezuela now that the president asserts that the United States is running Venezuela.
Great point, James Sample. Appreciate your analysis. As always, thanks so much. For more on what we are hearing from the White House, let's bring in ABC News